Hi, I'm Kelly Williamson from the Plant-Based Kitchen, and today I want to welcome Diane Smith from the Plant-Based Cooking. So welcome, Diane, and thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much for having me as a guest speaker on the Plant-Based Cooking Summit.
Thanks.
It's so great to be included with all these amazing plant-based diet advocates.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So everybody, you are joining the Plant-Based Cooking Summit, where we're going to talk about unleashing your inner chef. So we're going to talk about tips, tricks, recipes, journeys, all kinds of things and stuff to sustain a healthy lifestyle. So let's get started. So Diane, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and actually about your company and what you're doing?
Sure. Let's see, a little bit about myself. Well, I have 2 grown children, and I'm married to a wonderful man, and we live in Boulder, Colorado with our dog, Abby.
Nice.
She's a love. And when I was younger, I was a teacher for children with learning difficulties. But that didn't last too long, and actually I became a watercolor artist, and I was an artist for 25 years at least while my kids were growing. So I haven't been painting lately, but I probably will get back to it eventually. But I'm so passionate about plant-based cooking and eating and diet and all that right now. So my company really is my website called plantbasedcooking.com. And it's for people who are looking to transition to eating a plant-based diet, and they need easy, low or no oil plant-based recipes. I've been doing that about 6 years.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
So what led you into being plant-based?
What led me into being plant-based? Well, my journey, I'd say I've actually been a health nut or nutrition nut from way back. I've always had an interest in how the body works. I took biology and anatomy when I was in college. And then it was probably when I had my children, I started getting sick, from them. And that was when I took a lot of antibiotics, and that just didn't seem to do it. So I kept thinking, I've got to read, about the healing, how the body can heal itself. So I would look to alternatives. And I found I was actually inspired by Dr. Weil to try different methods. And when I just kind of let my body do its own healing process, I would get better on my own, and I stopped taking antibiotics. So that was an inkling that, our bodies are pretty amazing at healing. And then I love to read books about staying healthy. And I was actually inspired by Dr. Furman, who I'm sure you know.
Yep.
He really inspired me to eat a plant-based diet, and I followed a lot of diets over the years, the Zone diet, the South Beach diet, and it just seemed, when I read what he had to say, I just thought, this is right. This is the way we should be eating. So that inspired me, and Forks Over Knives, of course. I'm sure that inspired a lot of people. But when you hear how good things are, how it's so good for you eating this way, I don't see any other diet possibilities. So that's really how I got into it, I'd say. And plus I had my own health issues. I had some arthritis. I had irregular heartbeats, and it seemed like a plant-based diet could really do it, fix those things up. And my heart palpitations actually have cleared up, and both my husband and myself, we have no more joint pains.
Wow.
After eating this way. Yeah, it's been amazing. So I'm very excited.
So when you were actually said you were reading about Doug Lisle, and then you talked about, going into ferment and stuff, did you do like a cold turkey type of a thing and decide to go to the plant, or did you kind of like weave it into your life and then eventually go all plant-based?
I did more of the weaving.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that the first thing was my husband said, I want to get off dairy because I'm having these sinus issues. And I said, okay, fine. And dairy was actually the first thing I gave up, which sometimes is the other way around. People give that up last. But I found I was actually better than he was at it, even though he had the problem. But I wove that into my life over time, and actually took milk out of my coffee, which I thought I never, ever could do. And really enjoy. Now I can't stand if I taste anything with milk in it. It tastes terrible. So I'm amazed at how your taste can really change over time. Just give it a chance. Yep. Don't get scared about that. But yeah.
I would agree. I think a lot of people because a lot of people start and they go without meat first because they're saying, okay, get off the meat, the red meat, the chicken and all that. And then usually towards the last, they leave it towards the cheese and the milks and things But truthfully, the milk products and things like that and the dairy tend to cause a lot more issues than a lot of the meat does. So it's interesting. So it's interesting that you chose the milk products first. And sinuses definitely is a big reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I know people usually go the other way, but I don't know. I mean, milk and cheese is so addicting. I mean, it is hard for people to give up, but you can do it.
It's true. I have a lot of friends that, when we talk about, they're like, well, tell me about this lifestyle that you're doing. And so you'll start talking about, they're like, oh, I could never, ever give up my cheese. They'll like, I'll give up a hamburger, but not the cheese. And they always talk about the cheeses, when the meat consumption is starting to go down, the cheese consumption is going up because of the addictive qualities that are in it. So it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I might add just at the end here that, I also really feel like I'm contributing to a more sustainable planet.
Yep.
By eating this way and the well-being of animals. So it's just a all-around good thing for me and my lifestyle.
I agree.
And for other people.
Well, that's great. So tips and tricks. This is one of the parts I really, really love. So share with me like 2 or 3 tips and tricks of either like cooking or how to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yes. Well, okay, I have to say this. I think this fits into the cooking side, and one of the first things I find super helpful when you're cooking a plant-based diet is to have a full pantry.
Yes.
If you want to eliminate stress and save time and money, it's really my number one tip. Especially if you're just starting out on a plant-based diet, when you have plenty of staples in like veggie stock, whole grains like quinoa and rice, plant-based milks, which are great for making creamy sauces or adding to soup, you'll be able to pull together a meal quickly. And I think people get confused when they first start. They don't even really know what a meal is. They're so used to focusing on meat as the main dish. So having a full pantry kind of takes away the stress. And so even if you haven't planned something, you might come home and you're like, oh, what am I going to have for dinner? If you don't have anything in your cupboard, you're more likely to go out, blow it, spend more money, waste some time. So it helps you stay on target. And I think that's a great thing. So I also, obviously like to keep a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits around and in my fridge too. So, but let's see, what else do I keep in my pantry? Do you keep a full pantry too?
I do. I probably, if you came into my house and saw my pantry, there's probably 10 cans of black beans and 15 cans of pinto beans and all kinds of, rices and all kinds of things like that too. I used to not, and then there was a couple times way back when I was going out to eat a lot before I became plant-based, I would not have a very full pantry. And then there was a couple times when we had those really bad snowstorms here in Colorado, and I ended up getting caught up in, at home for 3 days and trying to figure out what to eat. So I'm a lot smarter about that now.
Yeah, I like that too. I like veggie stock I keep on hand.
Yep.
Beans is great. I love beans and whole grains, like you said. Did I say tomatoes? All kinds of canned tomatoes, guys. Yeah. So and you just get better at it. I think when you're first starting anything, it's always more work. Your brain just isn't used to it. It's like starting a sport. Like, how do I play tennis? I have to remember to do this and do that. And then all of a sudden it's easy. You can do it without even thinking. So I think having a full pantry really helps in that.
So what do you keep in your refrigerator? So what kind of main ingredients or stock ingredients do you keep in your refrigerator?
In my fridge, I always have frozen berries. It's like I probably have berries almost every morning, either in a smoothie or on oatmeal, something like that. And they're always great to make ice cream out of. So I keep frozen berries, and I like to keep. I don't know if you call it a staple in my fridge, but every week, of course, I fill it up with fresh vegetables, and I like having a variety around. I must always keep greens in my fridge, kale or spinach. Also lettuce. I love romaine lettuce. I actually use it in my smoothies. Yeah, it's got a lot of nutrition actually. I think people think kale is like number one, but romaine lettuce is pretty good too.
Never thought about that.
Let's see. I keep what else do I have? I have some nut butters, a few nut butters, almond butter usually.
Wow.
But yeah, can't think of anything. What else do I keep on my fridge? Can't think of anything else offhand.
So so like when you're stocking up, so let's just say that you've got, you need to stock up on your grains and your vegetables and things like that. Where do you usually go to find bulk of that? Do you have certain places that you love to go? Is there certain shopping areas or?
Yeah, well, it's amazing. Here in Colorado, there's King Supers, and they actually have a lot of organic and things that you could have on a plant-based diet, which is probably more reasonably priced. But I do love Whole Foods. I have to say, it's like going to Disneyland almost. But Whole Foods, and there's another store here called Sprouts. You probably heard of Sprouts.
Yep.
And they have bulk items, like they have bulk nuts. I do eat some nuts, unsalted, raw usually, but not always. I'd say those are the stores that I usually frequent. And although I've been to Costco, and Costco has some things too. Yeah, they have organic berries, frozen berries. Yep. So it's getting easier to stock up.
I agree. I've actually heard lately and stuff that and this is more for Colorado individuals and stuff, but I think that they're doing this across the nation. Costco is actually bringing their stores that they're starting to open up now, like most of their vegetables are going to be organic, which is really nice because then you can buy it in bulk.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great to buy in bulk and
Yep.
save money that way too.
Yep.
Right. And people tend to think, I'm not sure why, that it's more expensive to eat a plant-based diet, but
Sure.
it's really not. You don't have that cost of meat in there, which is expensive, and dairy. So that's great to know.
What do you think it costs you a day and stuff to eat on a plant-based diet? If you just had to round it off.
Ooh, I haven't really calculated that, but that's a great question. I don't know. I don't really know. Have you calculated that out?
I have a little bit. I'd say that most of the time, especially if you're doing if you're doing like oatmeal in the morning or smoothies, and then you're doing like a salad and grains or starches for lunch, and then you're doing something like that for dinner, or you're doing, maybe it's a enchilada casserole or something. Most of the time they're saying it's about $7 to $10 a day.
Is that it? Really?
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
That's pretty much what I'm eating. Soups, stews,
Yep.
burritos, lots of beans. Love beans.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think it'd be great it'd be a great article, actually. I'd love to have something like that on my website,
Yep.
What it costs per day.
Yeah, I know there's some people that have gotten it down to where it's like $4.99 or $4 a day, or eat on $5 a day, but to me that seems a lot restrictive. I would rather say $10 a day, and then you can pretty much eat whatever you want. So that's what I've heard.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Perfect. So what's some of the other tips and tricks that you'd like to be able to share with us?
Okay, well, let's see. My next tip is about cooking, and that is, if you're going to be chopping, chop once and cook twice. You may have heard this before,
Okay.
but that would be for things like onions and carrots and celery, things that you find more typically on as a base for recipes. And you might be using the same thing the next day. So it saves you time to chop those things one day, put them in a bag, put them in the fridge, and then use them for the next day's meal. But this actually could apply to other things, not just the chopping part, but when you're cooking, like if you're roasting vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
to cook an extra batch of roasted vegetables, or you have them in that night's meal, and then the next day you might put them on your salad, for instance.
Yep.
Or cook extra grains. One night you have it as your main course, then you might put it into a salad, make it a whole grain salad or something the next day. So double up on the things that you have, and in addition, double up on your recipe. Just make extra, and then freeze part of it.
Nothing better.
Yeah.
Nothing better to have it for lunches or dinners or something like that. It's always that what you're talking about and stuff is kind of do those base things that that you're going to be using a lot, and batch them out. Make a whole bunch, and then you've got them all for the week. So I fully agree on that. That makes it easier.
Yeah, especially for like difficult recipes, and like lasagna. To me, that's one of the harder ones, I'd say. And so if you're going to the trouble to make it, just make a double batch. And it's so good. You just pull it out of the freezer and it's ready to go when you had a busy day and you come home and like, what am I going to eat? There it is. So that's great. I also like to make fresh beans. I do like canned because they're very convenient, but pressure cooker batch of beans is wonderful because you can use them in so many things, like your burritos and tacos and on your salads, and really a fun thing to keep on hand too.
I have a pressure cooker and love it. I do the same thing, and I haven't done anything fancy with it, but I do, the beans, and I do rice, and I do the basic things that you need all the time, which is wonderful. And it's fast and it's easy. You don't have to think about it, which is nice.
Yeah, I've heard some people do their potatoes in there, like whole
Yep.
potatoes.
Yep.
Have you ever done? I haven't done that, but
Not yet.
that's a great. Yeah.
I've done like chunked
Yeah.
up potatoes. So I've done what I have done though is I've done things like like taking little small potatoes and I put those in there, and then I put in like broccoli or asparagus and onions, and I do it real chunky. So like the little potatoes, I leave them whole after I washed them, and then I'll just pile up the pressure cooker all the way almost maybe like this far from full, and have the liquid in there, and then I just pressure cook it like a soup, and then grind it up with the immersion blender, and that works out really well. So if it cooks those little potatoes and keeps them whole, I'm sure it would work for a big potato. I've just not used it yet for that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. I know. I'd like to use mine more. I think they're
Yeah, me
really
too.
handy, and it's a great tool to have.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially the ones that do pressure cooker and slow cooking to get either one. It's nice.
Yeah, I love them. It's one of the things I always look at and stuff is the Instant Pot, which is one that I think everybody knows about. That's a pressure cooker. Love it. It is so convenient. And if I could figure out, and I agree, if I would just take the time to figure out different recipes to put in there, you could pretty much never turn on your stove if you didn't want to. You could have pretty much everything else. So someday, when I get some time.
I have an Instant Pot. That's mine too.
Yep, I think everybody does. It's a great one. They're
Well,
actually.
they have those sales, every once in a while.
Yeah.
So people jump on on board.
I just learned though on Amazon the 6 quarts Instant Pots, because they've gotten so popular, are anywhere between 3 and 4 months back order, which is amazing.
Wow.
That's
yeah,
right.
they do get popular.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was like. Okay. So what's your third tip and trick?
Okay, let's see my third tip. And this is something I think your listeners would really like, and that is to get yourself some of those cute jelly jars.
Yeah.
I really like using these for storing things. They're they're called mason jars or
Yeah.
ball jars,
Yeah.
and they're usually very easy to find. I found them at Target or Walmart, and I've seen them in different colors, green and purple, which is kind of fun. And they're just great for storing so many things when you're on a plant-based diet. You could store your grains if you have a lot of them. It's a quick way to see them. And sometimes I tear off part of the label and put that in the jar with it. But if you make your own granola or muesli, it's great for storing in those. In fact, I make Christmas presents almost every year, and I did do muesli, and I put them in the jars and ship them off, and they're so cute.
Yeah, sounds beautiful.
So they have the wide mouth version, they have the smaller mouth version, and they'd even be good for storing your plant milks if you make your own. So, gosh, there's so many things that you can do with them. Have you ever made those layered salads?
Yes, love those.
Have you?
Uh-huh.
I've seen them. I've never made one, but apparently you put the dressing on the bottom, and then you layer it with your chopped lettuce and veggies,
Yep.
and then it stays really well. It doesn't get soggy, and then you shake it up when you're ready to eat. Is that right?
You have to, because you have to put the dressing, and then you put something that can soak up the dressing, so like a harder ingredient, so it's like your like garbanzo beans and things like that, so they sit on top, and then you put your lettuces more towards the top so it doesn't get soggy. But I've had them I would say probably in the refrigerator 6-7 days sometimes, and then I'll do soups the same way in the same size, and so then you can take like your favorite soup and then a salad or a different 2 different soups and salads and stuff to be able to do that for the week. So it's really good.
Oh, really? You keep your soups in them?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yep.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yep.
And then you have your combination of meal right there, ready.
Or you put like a grain, if you have like a different grain or something like that, like maybe a garbanzo bean salad, like mock tuna salad, you could put those in the jars, and you just have 2 jars or a couple of different things. You just grab your salad and something else with it, and it's great. It's a real easy way to keep things going. You can heat up the mason jars in the microwaves too if you want to. If you use a microwave, as long as you take the lid off. But you have to be careful and make sure you have something around it because it's really hot. But it's a good way to quick meals.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's a great tip too. But I also find they're great for like storing your raw veggies for snacks.
Yep.
And I actually read this tip. I'm passing along another tip that it's important for you to see the food that you want to eat. In other words, don't keep it hidden underneath foil and all that, or like your chopped veggies in the drawers down below, because if you don't see it, they're out of mind. So the tip is to keep the good things on the top shelves and hide the bad things, like if you have family members eating things that you don't eat, down in the other drawers. And that way you're more likely to eat them.
Yep.
And we also know, we know that plastic's pretty bad for storing food, so it's another great reason to use them.
I love mason jars. I probably
Yeah.
tons of them. I probably have 5 or 6 cases of different types of mason jars. Love them.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Well, they're great for so many things. You could go on Pinterest and find tons of ways to use them. I love them for flower arrangements, but they're great for keeping you on a plant-based diet. I think that's a great tip.
Yep. I love it because I'll go into it because I have a cabinet that's, that used to be where maybe you could put like your glasses, glassware or something like that, or just storage. And I've got all the mason jars with all the labels of all the different flours and grains and nutritional yeast and everything that I use. And it's nice when I get ready to go shopping on a Sunday, I could just look in that cabinet and say, oh, I need more almond flour, or I'm down on nutritional yeast or something like that. And it's an easy way to look at what you're doing, which is really nice. Makes it easy.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So right in the cupboard, you can see what's low and when it's not in a bag.
Yep.
Yeah, oh, I like that. Great.
Keeping your pantry all, with full of things and stuff that you need. And so you're not worrying about, do I have an almond flour, garbanzo bean flour? And when you're making lots of plant-based recipes, and I'm sure you're finding this out too, there's all kinds of recommendations for different legumes and flours and things. And all of a sudden you end up with all these, Bob's Red Mill little bags that are all over the place that, that's not necessarily the best to keep them all wrapped up. And so putting them in these jars makes it really handy.
Yeah, they probably keep longer that way, I'd
do.
say too. And
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see your cupboard. You have a photo of it somewhere?
I try to think. No, probably don't, but I probably could. I could take a picture of it because it's all, like I was starting out with the little chalk labels, but then every time I would grab it and my hand would be a little wet, then the chalk would move off a little bit. So now I've got the ones where I just put the Sharpie labels on them, but each one of them is labeled with whatever it is, which keeps it very nice and organized, which is fun.
Oh yeah, that's great. I've seen those lids that are like chalkboard lids too, but I like the side like you're doing.
Yeah, because then I can just go, I look up and it's like, oh, need this, nope, don't need this, looks good, and then off to the grocery store. Same thing with the pantry, even though I've got one of those long pantries that are in the cabinets, not the big pantries that like my mom used to have when I was a kid. So
Like a walk-in.
Love that.
You don't have. So you're the more wide.
Yep.
Do I have that right?
It's more deep, so it's like the cabinets that they put, and it's just really a deep cabinet. So at least it's storage, but nothing like a walk-in or even just a whole side of my kitchen or something that you could look at. So it's a little more looking through things. So it sounds like you have one of those great big walk-in pantries.
No, actually, I do not. I don't either. Mine is not too deep and not very wide. So I'm a little bit limited right now, but it seems to be plenty because it's just the two of us right now. So
yeah,
that works.
The new houses and this is just a whole side venture and stuff, but the new houses that I've seen lately are now going back to having the bigger pantries, which I think is absolutely fabulous in the kitchen. So at least you can get, where they used to, the bifold doors and they've had the shelves in there, those type of things they're putting in, which I really like. So someday I hope.
I wonder if more people are cooking home. I don't know. I mean, restaurants are certainly popular, but
I would agree.
When you're eating a plant-based diet, we know it's better to cook at home. It's you can go out, but it's a little more difficult.
Yep.
Yeah,
you definitely have to go to certain restaurants and find the waiters and the waitresses that can help you, and then talking to the chefs and making sure you're getting the right things. Because otherwise, if you expect things to show up the right way, it won't. So you've really got to get to know the people that are at the restaurants.
Yeah, and I've heard people say that they're pretty accommodating. If you say I don't need any oil. And they can be accommodating. I'm sure it depends on the kitchen and the circumstances, but that's good.
Yeah,
I know a lot of times they'll top things with butter when you don't even know it's on there, and it's just like crazy.
I find that like when you get veggie burgers at a lot of restaurants, what they'll do is they'll put a little bit of butter on the bun and stuff to keep it soft, but then also to grill it a little bit. So you have to be real careful with that too.
Yeah, you do. You don't realize that. Yeah, better to eat at home.
Yeah. So what's your favorite go-to? So your most favorite go-to recipe, something that you like if you're tired or you're hungry, and something that's quick to make, and then also what's your tips and tricks to make sure it's right, comes out right every time?
Yeah, well, and this is funny because I just thought of this recipe. I broke my wrist last week, and it's been hard to cook. And I thought, what can I do that was really easy? And this is the recipe I thought of, and it's definitely my go-to. And it's probably pasta with vegetables in a marinara sauce. It really, there are so many possibilities from this basic recipe. If you know how to make a good sauce, and this is a red sauce, but you could make a sauce, savory white sauce made with unsweetened non-dairy milk too. That's wonderful. But and I actually have a recipe on the website called pasta primavera. Have you heard of that one? Yeah,
I have heard it.
With
Sounds
a white,
good. Yep.
which is good too. But the veggies in marinara is really my go-to. And one reason I like it is because in a pinch, you can use a jarred sauce. There are some that have no fat. I think the Whole Foods 365 brand has a no-fat pasta sauce. But making your own is pretty easy. And if you have your canned tomatoes in your pantry, we know it's easy to pull those out. And really, it just takes some canned tomatoes, fresh herbs, and garlic, and you can make a fantastic marinara sauce. And then you have, of course, all the different types of vegetables you can use. So it's easy to mix it up. You can have carrots and zucchini in at one time, or maybe eggplant and peppers the next time. And then the way you prepare the vegetables, you can mix it up. You can throw them straight in, and they'll cook that way, which is the fastest and easiest probably way to do it.
Yeah.
But you could roast the vegetables and give them a kind of caramelized flavor. So, and then you can mix it up with the different types of pasta choices. My favorite's angel hair.
Yeah.
But you could use linguine. I mean, there's such a variety of different pastas. The whole grain pastas are really good now, better than they used to be.
So it sounds like you've eaten a lot of pasta this week then because of your wrist.
Well, I have actually had some takeout meals. I love the salad bar at Whole Foods. So I love eating salads every day, which is a lot of shopping.
Yeah.
But yeah. But let's see. Oh, you can use the marinara sauce in other things too, like lasagna or sloppy joes, or maybe put it on a baked potato. So one of my favorite ways to eat it is to add chopped greens, spinach, chard, or kale, in my marinara sauce, and use it over pasta. Or I've put it into chickpea omelet before. Have you ever made a chickpea omelet?
I have made a chick, but I've never put Italian like a tomato sauce into it.
Yeah. It's easy enough to make. Chickpea omelet, in case your listeners don't know, is made with chickpea flour, and it's almost like a pancake. And sometimes you put different like chopped green onions in it, and basil and herbs and things like that. But it pretty much cooks like a pancake. And then I stuff it with the pasta marinara with the chard and kale. Make it like an omelet.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Wow. Now I've seen the chickpea, I've not made them and stuff, and I'm gonna have to try that then. Thank you. I learned something.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay! I know, it's hard to teach you something when you teach cooking. Yeah.
I always look at it as you can always learn through this whole entire, all the interviews and stuff. I've learned something from every single person, which I absolutely love. So this has been really good.
Oh, that's great.
So your specialty, kind of like your specialty and what your focus is. So I know you're plant-based and stuff, but I know that you're, kind of focusing on different recipes and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, sure. I hadn't really thought of that I had a specialty particularly, but I'd say if I did, it would be focusing on easy and quick recipes for the most part, although I do have some recipes that are more complicated. But I just know how busy life is. I mean, for myself, I really started out doing this a lot for myself and keeping track, but I know it's the same for everybody, and I really want to make this lifestyle doable for everybody. So it just gets harder when you cook most of your meals at home. Dining out, as we said, is a little harder. So I want people to be successful, and if you have too many unusual ingredients or too many steps, that can be discouraging. So while I do have some more complicated, that's probably what I consider a specialty. But I wanted to talk about another specialty.
Sure.
Is that okay to talk about?
You sure can.
Okay. I think one of my other specialties is that I love coming up with tools for helping people transition. or staying on a plant-based diet. These tools, I hope, makes it easier to eat this way. It's like especially if you're learning a new skill, we talked about earlier, it's just harder sometimes. So these tools help make it easier. So because I was a graphic designer and an artist at one time, and I still love applying those skills to these I call them giveaways. They're free. In fact, one of my tools is a oil-free salad dressing formula, and actually that's the giveaway that I'm doing for your listeners for the summit. Okay. It has the formula and it has 10 oil-free salad dressing recipes. But I believe making salad dressings are one of the things that you really should be doing on your own. Store-bought versions are just too full of fat.
Yeah.
And really making them at home, it's not that complicated. So that's an example of a giveaway. I also have a hummus formula because hummus is usually made with 4 basic ingredients: beans, which usually are chickpeas, then lemon and garlic and tahini.
Yep.
And that's the basic recipe, and then you just add in different ingredients to mix it up. So one of my favorites is sun-dried tomato and basil. Yum. Have you ever had that?
I have.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I love that recipe, and you mix the basic hummus ingredients together first, and then throw those in later, and don't mix them the whole way, so you have little bits of pieces in the hummus. They're so good. But I love hummus as a substitute for cheese, and it's a great snack. I have some other.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have some other tools. I have a weight tracker, a meal planner, which you could also use as a diary. So I just really enjoy doing that. I think that's the teacher in me. I love taking things and breaking them down into steps and how to make your journey easier. So I'd say that's a specialty.
Well, that's great. I love it. I mean, anything that makes life easier and makes it, being able to sustain a healthy lifestyle and helps us, and whether it's diet diaries or meal planners or hummus recipes, you always do these type of things. Thank you for doing that. That's wonderful. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I was gonna say, one of my favorite recipes and stuff when you're talking about hummus is to take the roasted red peppers. So you always have the ones that are you either roasted in the oven or you've got the ones in a jar that are in water. Taking that and same thing, blending it up a little bit and leaving it kind of chunky, and then putting a little nutritional yeast. So it's kind of a roasted red pepper cheesy, which is really good too.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love the idea of adding a nutritional yeast. Yep. Yeah, I've seen pumpkin hummuses, beet hummus. There's so many varieties. So if you kind of get in your head what the basic recipe is, then you just play. And I think people should be willing to play. It's not as complicated as it might sound.
True.
To do it. Yeah.
I did one the other day. It was like black bean hummus. So black eyed pea hummus, which was really good. So, and it was one of those ones I wasn't sure because the black eyed peas are not something that's soft like a cannellini or a garbanzo bean that's been cooked. But it actually came out and it was really a good flavor. So it was a different thing, but it's the same thing. It's the same mixture. It's just instead of doing garbanzo, you do the black eyed peas with everything else that you're talking about. So it was good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. I like the idea of mixing up the beans too. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, there's definitely, we talk about all the different places that we can shop, but I've been hearing about all these other really cool beans that are out there. I'm going to have to go on some of these different, was it Rancho something? There's a couple sites out there from different beans and stuff, so I'm going to have to go out there and try all the different beans that people have been talking about, because there's some different ones I've never heard or never seen in the grocery stores, unfortunately. So.
And you can purchase them.
Yes.
You can find them online or something.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah. Surprise your guests.
Yeah, and then the other one was the salts. Everybody's talking about, and I know some people, don't use salt and stuff, but they were talking about there's hundreds of varieties of salts. And if we go to the savory spice and stuff, you can get the black salt, the pink Himalayan, all those type of salts. But they're talking about now there's smoked apple wood and all kinds of different things. So I thought that would be a fun thing to try, just a little bit of the different flavorings with the salts through different things. So
yeah, I have heard of different salts. In fact, I tried the pink Himalayan. What's the one that you're supposed to use on eggs?
I think there's a black salt that you can do that with, that gives that gives flavoring and stuff of an egg flavoring if you're using it, and then also the pink Himalayan will do the same thing. So depending on which which brand you get.
Yeah, I didn't mean eggs. I meant in tofu to make it taste like eggs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a mock tuna salad, you can use a little bit of the pink Himalayan, it'll give it a little bit of that egg flavor. But there is a sulfur, it's like a sulfur salt that's out there, and it's kind of a black gray color. And then it will, and just to add a little tiny pinch of that and stuff, and it'll actually make it taste just like eggs,
Yeah.
which is
Good
interesting.
idea.
Yeah. But I thought, just even like your pastas and stuff, using a little bit of like maybe smoked applewood or smoked hickory type of a flavoring salt. And I thought, well, that sounds kind of good. So I have to try that out. That's my next thing.
It's your next what?
It's my next thing I'm going to try. So the different recipes with some different, flavorings of salts and things like that. I think that'll be fun.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So what else would you like to be able to share with everybody today?
Well, what would I like to share? Well, my plans for the future.
Sure.
You want to hear about those?
I would love it.
Well, my plans for the future, actually, I'm planning to write a book that has recipes, of course, but the focus of the book will be more on how to share your love of plant-based food with other people and convincing them this is the way that they should be living their lives, and that'll help them live a longer and healthier life. I think that for a lot of people, they're struggling because they're the only one in their family eating this way, or they may have a relative or a parent that has had a stroke or heart attack, and they just know that they should be eating this way, and the parent is just resistant. So it's tricky. It's tricky water to negotiate. I think people really get stuck in their ways and their habits. So, they don't want to change. So I hope this book will use the science to show people what works. Like, how can you convince people of something? I'm sure it works for other things as well, but you can't just cram things down your throat. There's a methodical way to go about doing it. So I'm hoping to cover that in the book, and I think that's going to be great. And then
Wonderful.
I hope to take those concepts and actually do a course. I'm really excited about doing an online course on this, but I also may do a mini course on some aspect of eating a plant-based diet. I think I've done some surveys, and it seems like I'm surprised about this answer, but most people seem to have trouble with meal planning, which I find interesting. But because there's so many meal plans out there that you can actually get for free, but that is the number one people that say on my survey that they have trouble with. Yeah.
I would believe that, because I think a lot of people maybe know the basics of a meal plan, but to figure out when they're moving in or transitioning to a new lifestyle of what are some of the recipes, and sometimes it'll be like, what are the recipes that will keep me interested? But then at the same time is, if I have a bunch of recipes, how do I simplify? And then eating the right things and making them taste good. So I think they're always looking to people that do a lot of cooking to come back with a meal plan that tastes really good to them too, I think is what they're looking for. So.
Yeah, actually, I think that was the number 2 thing, making meals interesting, because somehow people think that plant-based meals are boring, and that's the furthest thing from the truth, as we know, but they just haven't learned it yet. Yeah. So
everybody thinks it's a bowl of vegetables and a salad and a bunch of beans, and it's pretty much all you can eat.
Yeah.
And that's not true. I mean, we do lasagnas and enchiladas, and we do, sloppy joes. We do all kinds of, there's no roast pot roast. There's all kinds of things. I mean, everything you eat regularly, you can eat plant-based. You just have to figure out the different ingredients to put it together to do that.
I know, and it's, really, if you think about it, we're just sort of, we're so trained and narrow-minded that we have to eat this way. Like, you can't have a really yummy dip that doesn't have cheese and fat in it. And it's so not true. If you just knew there was an alternative, like the oil-free plant, dressings, and it tasted really good, why wouldn't you eat that way? And that's just my philosophy. It's like, it's really good.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, we'll help change that. And then it sounds like your book and things like that, and some of the courses and things that you're planning on developing and stuff will help address some of that, which is absolutely great.
I hope so. Yeah.
That's great. Love the future plans. It sounds very ambitious, but it actually sounds very good though, and it's very much needed here in the especially around the plant-based lifestyle. So, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Great. So, thank
you.
Sure. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us that before we actually close?
Well, I'm so excited that your listeners are hoping to get inspired, to make more plant-based recipes. I mean, it's never too late to make a difference in your health. And I think these recipes are every bit as satisfying as meat dishes, maybe more so in some cases. And there's so much variety, like we were just saying. And really, it's not as hard as you think, and you'll be gaining a whole new perspective on a range of food and recipe ideas that you may never have thought of. And so it's a matter of perspective.
Yep.
And when you learn that you can have really delicious food, like I actually have a chili cheese dip that I'm recommending for the Super Bowl without the fat. Chips and dip without the fat. That's amazing. So I think you guys will wonder why you didn't start eating this way before. So I'd say just jump in and do it, and you'll be so happy you did.
I agree. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for everything that you've shared today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on the Plant-Based Cooking Summit. So stay tuned for more tips, tricks, recipes, and information. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.